Hello, darling. So I have taken a little bit of extra time, more time than I had anticipated, because I am a student and school has started, and I also work full time. So it's been a bit of a time constraint. So I'm going to go ahead and just record this in the car because this is the time that I have. And I know that the second part of this video was, highly anticipated. So we left off by talking about what the twin flame connection was, and just like some signs that would I guess tell you like if this person is your twin flame or not. So I want to get into my personal story about my twin flame journey and also how that catalyzed my spiritual awakening because it was a damn doozy. So when I first met my twin flame, I had actually gotten into a car accident and I was not able to walk for a significant amount of time. That typically does happen, like you guys probably have all these opportunities to meet each other, but there's always going to be like this right timing for you guys to come together. This most definitely was the time because I most definitely found like my best friend and my partner and my other half, and just like a full completion of, you know, what I guess I felt like I had been missing in my life, especially at such a very low point. And so it was just like this overwhelming feeling of comfort and familiarity when we both met each other. And I definitely felt like I had like come home, or like she came home. It was so bizarre to like barely meet somebody and feel like, damn, like finally, not even like I had been waiting for her or waiting for someone like her, or that I was even looking for somebody to meet, but she just kind of came at the right time. We did become friends, and we were friends for a few months before we fell in love with each other. It was definitely a natural progression, although we hit it off like fairly quickly and the chemistry was like unmatched. It was most definitely something that was naturally progressing, and I was okay with that, as was she. I was a little afraid, because I had never felt like that about somebody before, and it gave me a lot of apprehension to want to start a potential like romantic connection with her. And I even told a friend of mine, like, I think I'm gonna stop talking to her. And my friend was like, girl, like, why? You have all of these amazing things to say. And for me, I was like, because I'm like so into her, and like I feel things that I've never felt before, and that's very scary to me. I've never been that way, and I'm an Aquarius. Aquarians don't typically like have like that lovey-dovey mushy side of them, and she definitely brought that out, so it was making it like really scary for me. And that natural commitment phobia Aquarian was coming out through and through, and I was like, maybe I just want to run. So I fought the feeling, and I didn't, and we ended up finally dating each other, and everything was great, and we naturally like took the next steps, and we moved in with each other, and it was just like having a best friend and a lover in one. And like there was like nothing that we held from each other. We just told each other everything, even though it was like maybe even sometimes it was hurtful. We definitely always had a way of communicating with each other to where we understood where the other person was coming from, and we were open enough to understand um, our own feelings and the feelings of each other. And we always had like a meeting of the minds, and we just made compromises to balance each other out, because it was most definitely a yin yang situation. So this relationship lasted for 8 years. We did have some turbulent times, and there were a couple of times where we were out of alignment and we were not for sure if we were going to make it or not. But It was one thing that was for sure. It was that we were so deeply in love with each other. It was a matter of no matter what, we were always going to have each other's backs, and we were always going to be there. And if one of us fell, the other was very quickly there to like lift the other up. And it was an amazing dynamic to always feel like somebody had your back 100%. Um, this other person, she is a Gemini, and Geminis are very much, I would say, just as flighty as Aquarians are. Although Aquas and Geminis do hit it off really well because they are both air signs. Our moon signs were not the most compatible. She has a Pisces moon and I have a Libra moon, so of course hers is water, mine is air. I'm not as emotionally in touch as some other women are, especially somebody that has a water moon. And she also has a water Venus, and I have a fire Venus. So those things do matter when it comes to synastry, of what planets work with each other, what energies blend and which don't. And it's always good to pull a synastry chart on anybody that you're dating, whether that be a twin flame or just a regular romantic connection, or sometimes even family members and friends, or your kids, just so you can understand of how these two people communicate, get along with each other, so on and so forth. So what I did understand was that because she was very much a person that needed to be like constantly entertained and very much in need of attention, and I'm very much a attention kind of person. Like, I like space, but I also like attention, and I'm not so much somebody that needs somebody to be all over me. I just want you to sit next to me, and you don't have to talk to me, but I just want you around. And so sometimes that doesn't work for everybody. And that's something that I had to learn the hard way, because although I do love very, very deeply whenever I do, um, I don't always show it in the best ways, and I don't always show it to where the other person feels it or understands. My love doesn't look the same as another person's love, and that's okay. Everybody has different ways that they love and feel love, and love languages are a thing, and so are astrology love languages. So there was, I want to say about 2 years into the relationship, there was some infidelity, not on my part. And we were just going through like some rocky times, and I'm a very forgiving individual. I prefer to communicate and understand the reasons why somebody makes the decisions to do the things that they do, versus just mark a really big red X and say, like, F off, you don't matter, I hate you. And so I understood, not that I condoned her behavior, or, where she was at mind, like mindset wise, but I understood why she felt like she was maybe not getting um, everything that she needed out of the relationship. And because we were going through a lot of issues on the parenting front, it was just a lot of miscommunication that just kind of got worse. After some time passed, we were able to get through it, and we did a really amazing exercise to where we sat in front of each other, and we stared into each other's eyes without saying anything. And what was really powerful about that moment is, I think that's when I first realized, like, we are very, very deeply connected. It seemed that every emotion that I was feeling, as we were staring into each other's eyes, she was instantly mirroring. And so I would smile and she would smile. And when my eyes started to well up with water, and I started to cry, immediately she did the same. And so it was a very beautiful, like, harmony of emotion, because what I was feeling, she was feeling, in the same. And that connection exercise made such a big difference in our healing journey when it came to the infidelity that had happened. After that, we pretty much just had an understanding with each other that we would be more open and we would converse with each other more if we were having an issue about something, because we had a little bit of a disconnect and we had stopped really explaining our feelings because we both kind of put a wall up. So after we did that exercise, things were amazing, and we just only went forward. We um, Every time our lease was up, we moved into a bigger and nicer house until eventually we decided that we wanted to buy. And so um, we started the process of buying and getting like all of our information together and just taking like that next step, because in our minds, like, there was no other person, and like if there was any milestones that we were going to achieve, we most definitely knew that they were to be with each other. So I started school in 2018. We signed the papers to the house in January of 2019. So it was a bit of a rocky year, from the fall of 18 up until like the winter of 2019. My attention had been pulled, and I was having a bit of a hard time um, creating like a work-life balance that was working for everybody. And because I was having such a hard time, um, things started to kind of go sideways.